I'm wondering if anybody has any questions at this point. I think we can later move to breakout rooms for the discussion. But if there are any questions that you have now, I'll be happy to answer.
Can I say thanks very much indeed first, Kamil, for such a comprehensive and clear explication of what's happening in your institution, a movement broadly, as I understood things from the general into the increasingly sort of specific into schools and all the advantages that brings, and of course the challenges that can sometimes come with that. Might hand over to colleagues from the In-Sessional SIG with a couple of questions, but the suggestion was made to go into breakout rooms. I think that will be maybe a very positive thing to do. Should we have a couple of questions? Jenna, Jess, others? Yeah, great.
There are a few in the chat, actually.
Cool.
One that says, has there been consideration of extending this to home students?
Yes, so we very much invite home students. When we attend Welcome Week talks, we present, we believe that these materials, that home students can benefit from attending these sessions as well. So while we know that most of our students are international students, that those who attend. However, we are we are happy to also deliver to home students, and we do see some of them in these sessions.
Okay, thank you. A second question was, how do you decide which schools to engage with?
So one of the key factors for us is not so much at the school level, but at the course level, would be how many international students are studying that degree program. For example, economics is one of the largest degree programs with international students. So we would be keen to speak to academics from delivering economics and to have some input and for some of some economic texts and so on to be in our materials. In terms of which schools we focus on, I think we wanted to start with humanities, and the idea is now to engage with Faculty of Biology, Medicine and Health as the next step. So more like step by step. And I think because we are part of the School of Arts, Languages and Cultures, starting with the Faculty of Humanities and associated schools was probably a natural starting point.
Okay, great. Thank you. Also, another question was, is this for UG or PG or both?
So again, majority of our students are postgraduate students, but we believe that a lot of the skills that we focus on developing are transferable and are the same. Actually, both undergraduate and postgraduate students need to have these skills to excel in their studies. So yeah, we focus on both, but the majority of our students are postgraduate students.
Okay, good. There's quite a lot of questions in the chat, actually. I keep scrolling and people keep adding. Another question is if you could shed any light on the funding model for the provision. Do some schools have more international students and therefore contribute more, or the reverse, and how the funding works?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to comment on the funding. That's not a part that I'm personally involved in. So I'm not sure about how that aspect works.
Yeah. Another question then, which you might know, is have you thought about extending this into mentoring by PhD students?
What do you mean by mentoring?
It's a question from Alison.
Sorry, I just meant, for example, something which I set up a while back is recruiting PhD students to help, especially it was for undergraduate students, with steering them with their assignments and looking at the different areas. It just created them, it embedded the program more into the academic department, because then they saw the direct connection. That's what I was just thinking of. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, yes. So we don't work that much with PhD students. However, we do work with academic advisors from each of the schools. There are quite a lot of academic advisors working with each of the schools, and we've worked with some of them. For example, they recorded interviews explaining what their role is as part of this course called Adjusting to Academic Life, offered in term 1. So it's more academic advisors than PhD students that we work with, asking them for feedback on our materials and also to contribute to them.
Thank you. I think this question is quite interesting, one that I had in my mind as well. Do you still, even though enrollments are up, do you still find that students tend to drop out as the block progresses, or is attainment staying the same?
Yes, so I think that's just the challenge of the in-sessional, right? And unfortunately we have not managed to tackle that completely. Anecdotally, as I taught some of these classes myself, I can it appears that the retention is better than on other in-sessional courses. But yes, there are many dropouts, particularly the numbers in the second block in November are much lower. We can only guess that some of the reasons maybe that students have more coursework, and there could be loads of reasons. But yeah, so we haven't managed to make them all stay, and there are still issues with retention, but it appears to be a more positive picture compared with other courses.
Yeah, I think it is just an issue of in-sessional, isn't it? Constant battle. Rosa has asked that she was curious about the video recording of lecturers about criticality, and how did you use these in the materials?
So we conducted these interviews with a couple of questions, and later analyzed them to create short clips. So for example, in this task, there would be 6 short, maybe 30 seconds or so extracts where the lecturer would be talking, and then students will be verifying whether this is what they see on the page or not. So kind of true or false activity. So, just bearing in mind attention span, we try to create short clips and then specific comprehension tasks associated with them.
Okay, should we do one more question and then make sure we've got time for breakout rooms as well? The one question about, does your ESAP approach involve also developing EAP tutors' expertise of discipline-specific writing practices? And if so, what CPD support do you offer to the tutors?
Thank you. Well, that's one of the challenges with going more towards ESAP, and I think we are at the rather initial stage where the materials are not too challenging for tutors to be able to deliver them, and also the kind of input that we have tried to include in our materials is rather accessible. It also has to be accessible because even within each of the schools, for example, School of Social Sciences, we have students studying very different disciplines like law, social anthropology, economics, criminology. So we are trying to include topics and articles and content that is fairly accessible across this school, and as a result, I think it's also more accessible to tutors who deliver these. so in terms of CPD opportunities, I think we would like to think that these materials can don't require particular training for a tutor to deliver them, and they should be fairly easy to deliver. However, at the same time, we have our course meetings, and we exchange information if we come across any more challenging content.
Okay.